It's like somebody once told me in the business at all, it was always about, if you stick around long enough, something good might happen. I think, I mean, what can I say? I mean, it's really been a great ride so far, and I don't plan on being done anytime soon, but I think everything kind of spawned off the Uncharted thing because it became so big. And then, but I was doing Call of Duty before that. I was doing other projects, but that became like a real different type of game. And, and when the cinematic experience that it brought to it, and, they would hate me for saying this, but honest to God, I play Call of Duty. I don't play games, but I've always played Army as a kid, so I play the Call of Duty games. And I hate to say it, but I've never played with myself.
You play with yourself all the time.
No, I don't know. I mean, it's that was just that character. I've said this before. Nathan Drake, after I work on him 16 months. That's me with incredible upper body strength. I just can't sustain anything different.
So let me ask. So do you guys play games? Do you guys play games? I know this guy plays games because we have many a late night when we play. And
no, man, I suck. I'm so bad. I mean, I'm afraid. I played a campaign a couple of times. I went online once, and I think Activision called me and said, "Stop playing. You're embarrassing the franchise." It's just like, yeah, it is. At a certain age, you don't have the time to get the manual dexterity to play the game, like the buttons and the things. It's just like you're driving a car with it. It's just it's an embarrassment sometimes.
But what's interesting is that even if you don't play games, well, what's interesting from my perspective is that when I see what you guys each bring to your roles is the fact that you don't play games and you're bringing your experience from stage and from on camera and from television and from just working with other actors and having that sort of reaction, not just acting, but reacting to those situations. That's the realism that we're trying to capture in the game. And I think that what makes the franchise so special is that when I hear your performances, to me, I know it doesn't feel like the same kind of acting that you would normally experience in a film, but for us, and as an audience and as a fan myself, to hear what you guys bring to it, that's as real as it gets for us, for games. And that's what we appreciate as fans.
Hey, I gotta tell you, when we did the mocap for Call of Dead, right? Black Ops, it was the same. I mean, when I saw the finished product, the trailer, I remember, well, yeah, that's exactly what I did. The hardest part, though, I got to tell you, the hardest part of the motion capture thing was the makeup people afterwards. They want to get the hell out of there. They want to go home, and they're like, they're pulling this crap off your face. And I get in the car, and I'm driving home, and I knew it was hurting when it was happening. But then I look in the rearview mirror, and there's like little red blotches all over my face. They take little pieces of skin off every time. Whack. And by the way, I do play games.
What's your favorite game?
I think
what are you playing right now?
You know what? Maybe I'll just listen. Doom, 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 doom. You know that game? It's a little Space Invader guys that go across.
What's this Space Invaders thing you speak of?
It's called Space Invaders.
Space Invaders?
You don't know Space Invaders?
Space Invaders? Is that a video game?
You gotta know Space Invaders! Give me a break! It's the game that started it all.
Space?
Yeah, I got a whole big Space Invader game in my basement. It's about this high, and the screen's about 2 by 2, and that's what I play.
And that's where it comes from. I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing to see gameplay and where it's come over the past 20, 30 years, where everything was just about the game.
Muscular thumbs.
So what do your families think when you tell them you're in Call of Duty? What happens when you say, I'm Captain Price or I'm from Modern Warfare 3? What's the reaction?
You gotta be kidding me. Uncle Bill, really? I get a lot of that because I got a lot of nephews. Yeah, I mean, people are excited. I was home in my hometown, Buffalo, New York, about a month ago. Somebody yelled, yeah, come on, chicken wings, babe. Buffalo, love it. And I'm walking through a big mall, and I had to get something, going to a wedding that night, and I walked by a GameStop, and I had 3 nephews with me, and plastered across the front of it was Modern Warfare 3, all the posters. And I hadn't mentioned it to anybody, and looked at my 3 nephews and said, I'm in that. My status went really big, like really quick. I went from like Uncle Bill's cool to like Uncle Bill's like really cool, really cool. So that's all I know about it right now.
On when we were doing Black Ops, Gary Oldman, who couldn't be here today, but he sends his regards. We have a lot of people who actually did want to come today who weren't able to make it. Gary's kids are huge Call of Duty fans, and he, besides being just an amazing performer, he did that game because his family and his kids thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I think that's a big sort of, it's the cool factor if you're working on something that you're really proud of. And it's amazing. I've met so many people who I've worked with who have been in the film industry and the television industry for 20, 30 years, and more people know them for their game roles than they do for their film roles now, and especially this generation.
I was having a little breakfast with the one of the producers of the movie I'm doing, the TV show that I'm doing in, oh no, I'm not doing that. I can't say that, never mind. It's a secret. Yeah, okay, never mind. No, anyway, I was having breakfast, and a little 11-year-old and an 8-year-old was sitting next to us, and they had their dad's iPhone, and they're going like this, and they're snickering and screaming and showing the dad, and finally they showed it to us, and it was one of the images from Call of the Dead, and it blew my mind because they're 8-year-olds and 11-year-olds, and so my fan base is usually people who are in prison, mental institutions, and people on the street that watch my movies from the sidewalk, looking at the, So my fan base is increased a little bit. Sick, isn't it?
How about you guys? So in England, tell me about the reaction to Call of Duty and you as Price there.
Well, it's not just in England, it's all over the place, the whole world. When I arrived at LAX about 3.5 weeks ago, I always hire a car, and I'd hired it in advance. So I went to pick it up, and the woman there was chatting away to me and saying, "What are you doing over there?" I said I was working, and she said, "What on?" I said, "Oh, I do a game called Call of Duty Modern Warfare." And she went silent, and she picked the phone up, her little mobile, and phoned her son, who wanted to get in a cab and come down to meet me. But the upshot of it all is that I'd hired a car, and I think it was something like the second lowest price car there. She upgraded me she gave me a 4x4. I've got it, I don't know what it's called, it's a Ford. But it cost another $30 a day. But she let me have it for $10 a day. So yeah, there are perks that go with it. There are great perks, but that's everywhere. Every person that I tell, they immediately get on the phone to somebody, whether it's 2 o'clock in the morning or it's midday, just to tell somebody they're with Captain Price. It's a great honor to be in this. Thank you.
Thank you. So where are those microphones? Anyone come up with any more questions for us? Because we're going to keep talking unless you guys ask us some questions.
Can you hear me? Oh, hello.
Barely, yeah.
What about now? Is that better? Okay. This is a question really for William and Michael. Given the phenomenal success of the franchise, do you think Hollywood's attitude has changed towards video games over the last few years?
My attitude or the attitude of...
Well, in actors in general, is it, 5 years ago, would you have done a role in a video game, like you are now?
Well, I'm not a video game player myself, but, you have to be blind not to see, its effect and the size of the industry and the player base it's fantastic. It's huge. I think most studios, most movie studios probably envy the size of what happens. You know, not only, you know, the money to be made, but a core fan base that hangs in there and looks forward to the next one. I don't think even franchise films can bank on that the way people are as committed to the games. So, you know, to be a part of you know, before I started working, to find out a little bit about the history of the game and where it's at and the newest incarnation of it, was I felt pretty honored to step into something so amazing.
And one thing you should know about this guy, even though he doesn't claim to play video games, he is the most amazing race driver you will see. And there is some footage. If you just YouTube it, Google it, look at this race that he just did just recently. It's just amazing to watch this guy drive a car. And did you do any of the stunts in Drive Angry, by the way? I just wanted to ask you that while we're on stage.
No.
That was.
I'd like to say that I did, but no. No, actually, I drove the big tanker.
The big tanker?
Hydrogen tanker.
Okay.
Listening to KC and the Sunshine Band. That's right.
So
I did that.
He might. We'll give him a driving level. We'll let you. We'll set you up. We'll get you playing.
We got any cars in the back here?
We got a couple.
All right. All right.
So all right. So let's take a couple more questions here, guys. Right here.
Okay. Greetings from Turkey, Istanbul. This is a question for Mr. Murray. What's the difference between doing your job in front of a camera or behind a microphone? I mean, do you add the...
I can't hear you.
How about now? Is it okay? Yeah. Okay. What's the difference between doing your job in front of a camera or behind a microphone? I mean, do you ad-lib watching your characters' movements or mimics?
I'm sorry, did you say do we ad-lib? Is that what you said?
Yeah. My main question is, what's the difference between doing your job in front of a camera or behind a microphone? Are there any really big differences? It's not really hard. I mean,
The difference, yes, there is a difference. You can, in front of a camera, you can ad-lib. I mean, I don't know so much in America, but in England, I'm in a position to be able to ad-lib if I don't like the dialogue. But in a game like this, apart from the fact that they might have an Englishism slightly wrong, and we change it there and then, but we stick to every syllable otherwise. It has to be like that because it has to fit, they have to sync it into the character's lips, if you like. It's lip sync. But yeah, the difference is you can in front of a camera, you can't in front of a microphone.
thank you.
So I wanted to ask you a question. So I heard that you have been attending a couple other conventions. There was Comic-Con, a couple other things, and really being out there with the fans. So tell me about that. What have you been doing? Have you been going out and be able to...
Yeah, like probably once a month I'll head out to, I've been, so far this summer I've been to Philly, Toronto, Chicago, I'll be in Sacramento tonight actually. And the fan base is fucking nuts. You guys are crazy. I mean, it's unbelievable. Yeah, you guys are the best. I mean, we'll sit there and have 15, 2,000 people, and mostly 9-year-old kids too, which is really bizarre, you know? And they'll be lined up and just, everyone's got a favorite line or a favorite, you know, scenario they want to hear. So I end up saying lines from like, you see that hind? We're gonna take it. I say it 400 fucking times a day, man. It's like and what I end up talking about a lot is, on the campaign level, you know, guys like to shoot me for some reason. Hey, I shot you in the ass, man. And like, what did I say? Like, there's the fan base, and it spreads from, you know, east to west coast. It's basically untapped in sort of the Comic-Con areas. But when they find out, you guys just show up in droves. I mean, I think in Toronto we had maybe 15,000 people waiting to talk about the Call of Duty stuff, which is it's bizarre. So thank you for that, by the way. I appreciate it.
Hopefully we'll see more conventions like this here every year. So, all right, we got time for a couple more questions. One right here.
All right, first of all, Michael, you badass, dude. Grew up watching some of your movies. You kick ass. All right, Michael, yes, Michael Rooker. But William